Deep inside Mexico's Calakmul forest, there is a Maya city whose modern name is also a warning, Min-Em. In Yucatec Maya, the name means, roughly, there is no road. For more than 1,000 years, trees closed over its plazas, roots pressed into its stonework, and the jungle erased every easy route to its monuments. Then, in 2026, a Mexican-Slovenian archaeological team reached the site on the ground. What they documented was not a lonely ruin. It was an urban center with palaces, religious buildings, water channels, a pyramid temple, and carved stone monuments that may preserve the final political messages of a city living through a dangerous century. One of those stones carries a date, 849 C. And beneath the glyphs is a scene of violence. The viral version of this story would say that a lost civilization suddenly appeared beneath the jungle. The real story is more powerful. Maya people never disappeared, and the city was not discovered by accident. It was detected from the air, reached through punishing terrain, and documented by experts who know that every stone has to be read in context. This documentary separates what archaeologists have confirmed from what Min-Em has not yet revealed. Its ancient name, its rulers, its alliances, and the reason its political life ended are still open questions. The story begins in Campeche, in southeastern Mexico, inside the Calakmul Biosphere Reserve. UNESCO describes this protected region as part of one of the largest and best conserved tropical forests in the Americas, a landscape where cultural history and natural history are inseparable. Today, the canopy appears almost continuous. Beneath it lies a much older human landscape. For more than 15 centuries, Maya communities shaped parts of this forest through settlement, farming, water management, trade, and the construction of cities. One of the greatest was Calakmul, a major political power of the classic Maya world. But large capitals did not stand alone. Around them were smaller centers, roads, farms, reservoirs, workshops, and communities whose relationships created an entire regional system. Min-Em appears to have belonged to that world. The newly documented site lies north of the Calakmul core, in terrain so difficult that old logging tracks never cut directly through it. The first clue arrived from above. 13 years before the 2026 field season, airborne laser scanning recorded the shape of the land beneath the forest canopy. The technology is called LiDAR, short for light detection and ranging. An aircraft sends laser pulses toward the ground and measures the returning light. After vegetation is digitally filtered from the data, subtle changes in elevation can reveal platforms, terraces, walls, causeways, and other human-made forms. LiDAR does not excavate a city. It does not identify a ruler, date a wall, or explain a ritual. It creates a map of possibilities. Archaeologists still have to reach the terrain, examine the remains, document the objects, and test every interpretation against evidence on the ground. At Min-Em, the map showed a place. The jungle still refused to give it up. According to Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History, the team had to open approximately 5 kilometers of vegetation so all-terrain vehicles could advance, then continue another 6 kilometers on foot. Archaeologists at Esta Flores Esquivel, Israel Chato Lopez, Quintin Hernandez Gomez, and Vitinvu Janovic took part in the ground survey under the direction of Ivan Sprajk, a specialist in Maya landscape archaeology. They moved through heat, insects, dense growth, and terrain with no simple supply line. Every camera, measuring tool, battery, water container, and field notebook had to travel through the same barrier that had protected the ruins. That difficulty inspired the name. Min-Em combines Yucatec Maya words translated as there is no road or no path. It is a modern archaeological name, not a recovered ancient name. That distinction matters. The people who built this city almost certainly call it something else. Until an inscription identifies the place, its original name remains unknown. When the team arrived, the isolation delivered an extraordinary advantage. Researchers reported no visible signs of looting. In a region where carved monuments can be cut apart and sold, an undisturbed context is often more valuable than any single spectacular object. A looted artifact can retain beauty, but lose its address. Archaeologists need to know exactly where an object stood, what surrounded it, how it was oriented, and which layers came before or after it. Context turns stone into history. Min-Em covers about 15 hectares, or roughly 37 acres. The survey identified urban plazas enclosed by palace-like and religious buildings, along with terraces and channels connected to water management. The tallest known structure is a pyramid temple rising more than 13 meters. Its masonry and moldings resemble the Rio Bec architectural tradition associated with the central Maya lowlands. That style is known for monumental facades and carefully worked stone. At Min-Em, it signals access to trained builders, organized labor, and a community capable of investing major resources in public architecture. But the most revealing discoveries may be the stones placed in front of those buildings. The team recorded 14 stelae and altars, several carrying carved imagery or hieroglyphic writing. A stela is a standing stone monument. In classic Maya cities, stelae could display rulers, captives, ancestors, gods, calendar dates, and political events. They were not neutral decoration. They were public statements made to survive. At places such as Tikal, inscriptions and royal portraits turned plazas into landscapes of memory. A ruler could use stone to announce ancestry, victory, ritual authority, or a place within the sacred calendar. Minen's monuments now offer the same kind of possibility, but their reading has only begun. The team photographed the carvings and created digital records for epigraphic analysis. One monument refuses to be quiet. Stela 1 appears to show a figure holding a knife or axe while decapitating another person. The scene is damaged, and interpretation must remain careful, but the surviving image is unmistakably violent. Its inscription includes a date corresponding to 849 CE. That places the monument near the end of the late Classic period, when many political centers in the central lowlands were experiencing intense change. The image does not prove that Minend was destroyed in war. It could commemorate a specific victory, a captive, a ritual performance, or an act used to reinforce royal power. Without a full reading of the text, certainty would be theatrical rather than historical. What can be said is narrower. A community at Minend commissioned a violent political image in 849 CE and placed it where people could see it. Another altar carries the image of an elaborately dressed ruler with a feathered headdress, chest ornament, bracelets, and necklaces. A calendar sign indicates that this monument may date to the late 7th century. Together, the monuments suggest that Minend's public history stretched across generations. The city was not created for one final event. Its rulers or elites repeatedly returned to stone as a medium of authority. The architecture, ceramics, inscriptions, and dates point to a peak during the late Classic period, approximately 600 to 900 CE. This was also an era of extraordinary urban growth, artistic production, diplomacy, rivalry, and warfare across the Maya lowlands. The word Maya can make the past sound like one unified empire. It was not. The classic Maya world contained many kingdoms and city-states, linked by trade, marriage, shared traditions, competition, and shifting alliances. Calakmul was one of the most powerful players in that network. Minend's position in the same wider landscape raises an obvious question. Was it a subordinate center, an ally, a local rival, or a community whose loyalties changed over time? The answer may be carved into the monuments. Maya glyphs can preserve names, titles, dynastic relationships, accessions, wars, and ritual dates. But erosion, fragmentation, and deliberate damage can remove the exact signs scholars need. Researchers found some monuments broken. One possibility is that later inhabitants intentionally altered them after the beliefs or political order they represented had lost authority. That is an interpretation, not a confirmed event. Stones can break through weather, roots, collapse, reuse, or deliberate destruction. Archaeology advances by comparing these possibilities, not by choosing the most dramatic one first. The water system may be equally important. The limestone lowlands do not offer abundant surface rivers. Maya communities engineer their landscapes to capture and store seasonal rain through reservoirs, depressions, channels, terraces, and other forms of water control. UNESCO notes that ancient Maya water features in the Calakmul region still support wildlife today. What began as urban infrastructure became part of the living forest. At Minend, channels flanking terraces suggest that the city was shaped not only for ceremony, but also for survival and production. Water moved through the same landscape where power was carved into stone. Then came the 9th century. Popular documentaries often compress the end of the Classic period into one sentence: the Maya vanished. That sentence is wrong. Maya peoples survived, adapted, migrated, rebuilt political centers, and remain living communities today. What changed in many central lowland cities was the system of dynastic rule, monument building, concentrated population, and regional exchange. Researchers continue to debate why those transformations became so severe. Evidence points to different combinations in different places: prolonged drought, warfare, environmental pressure, disrupted trade, political fragmentation, migration, and the loss of confidence in royal institutions. There is no single collapse switch, and evidence from one city cannot explain an entire civilization. Climate research has identified severe and repeated droughts during parts of the terminal Classic period, but drought alone does not tell us how each community responded. Some centers declined, some endured, and others gained influence. The date 849 CE therefore matters because it places Minend inside the crisis, not because it explains the crisis. A violent stela may reflect conflict, royal propaganda, ritual, or all three. It is one line from a much larger archive. If future work can identify the people named on that stone, scholars may connect Minend to known dynasties and events. A single emblem potentially isolated to a particular regional story. Ceramics may reveal trade routes and chronology. Soil chemistry may locate kitchens, workshops, or markets. Botanical remains may show what people cultivated. Human burials, if responsibly studied, could reveal diet, health, migration, and ancestry. Yet every answer creates an ethical responsibility. Archaeological sites are not empty stages. They are cultural heritage connected to living people, local communities, and indigenous histories. The name Minend itself uses a living Maya language. Responsible storytelling must not treat the Maya as a vanished mystery race. The ruins are ancient. Maya identity is present. There is also a difference between finding a site and understanding it. The LiDAR data existed for 13 years before the 2026 survey reached the ruins. Even now, the public announcement is a beginning, not a final excavation report. The confirmed inventory is already remarkable. Approximately 15 hectares, a pyramid temple over 13 meters high, plazas, palace and religious architecture, terraces, water channels, and 14 carved monuments. The inventory is longer. How many people lived here? What was the city's original name? Who commissioned the monuments? Which gods were honored? What was Minan's relationship with Calakmul? When did people leave, and did they move to another center? Even the word intact needs precision. It means the team reported no signs of modern looting and found valuable contexts preserved. It does not mean every building stands complete or every inscription can be read. The forest protected the city, but it also broke and buried it. Roots split masonry. Rain erodes limestone. Falling trees crush walls. Humidity feeds biological growth across carved surfaces. Documentation is therefore a race against slow damage. High-resolution photography, three-dimensional models, mapping, and careful conservation can preserve information even when a monument cannot be moved. LiDAR has transformed this work because it allows archaeologists to see settlement at landscape scale. Instead of focusing only on spectacular temples, researchers can map ordinary platforms, agricultural features, roads, and the spaces between political centers. But the technology should not become the hero. A laser map cannot replace the knowledge of local guides, field crews, epigraphers, conservators, ceramic specialists, botanists, or the communities whose heritage is being studied. The machine saw the shape. People recovered the story. Minamp also changes the emotional scale of discovery. The city is not hidden because ancient people failed to build something important. It is hidden because a tropical forest can absorb stone architecture until a pyramid looks like a hill. For centuries, the canopy turned plazas into habitat. Animals crossed royal spaces. Water gathered in engineered depressions. The city became forest without becoming empty. That is why the phrase lost city is useful for a thumbnail, but incomplete as history. Minand was lost to modern maps, not erased from the land. Its walls remain exactly where builders placed them. The real breakthrough of 2026 was connection. Remote sensing connected to field survey, architecture connected to water, monuments connected to political memory, and an isolated site connected to the wider Maya world. The next breakthrough may come from a glyph no one has yet read. It may come from a pottery fragment, a buried floor, a reservoir, or evidence that the city survived longer than researchers currently expect. Until then, the strongest conclusion is also the most honest. Minand was an important late classic Maya center, and its preserved context gives archaeologists a rare chance to ask better questions. In 849 CE, someone at this city wanted violence, authority, and memory fixed in stone. More than 11 centuries later, that message has reached us, but not yet in full. The road ended. The city did not. Beneath the Calakmul canopy, Minand is still becoming visible. One terrace, one monument, and one careful interpretation at a time. If you want more sourceware stories about the civilizations still hidden beneath familiar landscapes, subscribe to Roots of the Realm. And tell us in the comments, should the next investigation follow the unread glyphs of Minand, or another city revealed by LiDAR?